In 1968, Spencer Silver was working for 3M on an ultra-strong adhesive for aircraft construction. What he developed was a pressure-sensitive adhesive called acrylite copolymer microspheres. 3M had no idea how to utilize this, and they wrote it off as a loss for 5 years, until Art Fry. Art Fry also worked at 3M, but on the weekends sang as part of his church choir. He found that he often lost the place since his bookmarks would fall out. But he remembered that there was a pressure-sensitive weak adhesive invented 5 years ago at his company 3M. And he wondered what would happen if I applied this to paper. And so he did. And it stuck, but also allowed him to peel it off again and place it somewhere else. You got it. He invented the Post-it note. The Post-it note. Spencer Silver actually invented the technology, but it was written off as a loss for 5 years and essentially was seen as a kilala, as a curse, as a loss on the company, until its application by Art Fry. Then it turned into a Berakha. That's what Berakha is. The ability to utilize that which we already have. That's the lesson that Moshe Rabbeinu was teaching us in this week's Perasha. When he says, Natati lefanecha b'berakha v'hakilala. I have placed before you this choice. You choose whether it's going to be for a blessing or for a curse. Everything that you already have before you. Rabbi Hirsch notes where it says that Bnei Israel is going to set up 2 mountains, one for blessing and one for curses, before they enter into the land of Israel. He says both of these mountains, the one that represents blessing and the one that represents curses, are in the same mountain range. They have the same soil, the same wind, the same rain, the same sun. But one of them's barren and one of them is very fruitful with a ton of abundance of vegetation. The difference is not what we have, but the use that we find for it. That's the Berakha that I wish upon us all this year. Yes, there are things that we cannot control, and we are all praying for the end of Corona, or at least for a vaccine. But there are so many things that we in our life have written off as a loss that we don't value or pay attention to. And if we would just look towards them, towards the things that we have, and find a way to value them and apply them, then we could create more Berakha within our lives. Next Friday night, when we sing Ahot Ketana and the refrain, Tichle Shana v'kildotea tahil Shana u'berchotea, end this year and its curses and begin this year with its blessings, I want you to think about what in your life you have that you have written off, that you could now focus on and turn into Berakha. Tizkeh l'shanim rabot, ne'imot v'tovot, Shana Tova, and Shabbat Shalom.